Wow, so this is a really controversial topic right now in Clash of Clans. In this video, we're going to break down the numbers of the Builders Apprentice to be able to see whether or not it's really worth it, or if this is just a cash grab on Supercell's part. So before we get into it, make sure you smash that subscribe button to watch videos just like this, but let's get into the numbers. Recently, Supercell has been implementing a lot more ways for us to spend money in the game. From the Diamond Pass, Event Pass every month, to the Goblin Builder, to the Builders Apprentice, we now have more ways to speed up our progress, but only if, you guessed it, we pay more money. Now, whether that be the $5 for the Event Pass, or whether that be gems by using the Goblin Builder or the Builder's Apprentice, we could easily get into the hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per year by buying all of these in-game options. And although we might be upset as a player base that Supercell has introduced something like this, let's look at the actual numbers to determine if it's something actually worth getting upset about. Now, there are a lot of different ways that you can math this, and it did spin my head a little bit trying to figure out all the numbers, so just keep that in consideration because all of the numbers pretty much worked out to be the same. First, let's look at the Apprentice Warden. For 500 gems, you can speed up upgrading by 1 hour per day. Levels 2 through 8, which gives you a max Builder's Apprentice, cost from 750 to 1,000 gems for the highest levels, and gives you an extra 8 hours per day of sped up builder time for a total cost of 6,500 gems. If you get your gems from the cash shop, you can buy a pack of 6,500 gems, which is what the Builder's Apprentice costs, for $49.99 in US dollars, which does seem like a lot for such a minor benefit in the game. So the question we have to ask ourselves is it worth $50 for me to get something that's essentially 1/3 of a builder? And I think that comes down to the question of how much is it worth to me as a player to have a max base as quickly as possible. Clash of Clans has always said that their goal for an active player is to be able to max out their base from start to finish in 3 years or so. And with magic item usage, this is right about 1,095 days, which sounds about right. And since a max Builder's Apprentice can cut up to 8 hours per day off one builder's time, that upgrading would theoretically cut your time to max by 73 days if you have 5 builders, and by 60 days if you have 6 builders. Assuming you are actually starting with the Builder's Apprentice from the moment you start your account, and if you use it extremely efficiently every single day. So if I started from day 1, it's gonna save me between 60 to 73 days of upgrade time at the end in order to get myself to max. For 6,500 gems? Now again, we come back to that question of how important is it that I have a max base as quickly as possible. And if maxing out completely was super important to me, then spending this $50 up front could save me over 2 months of builder time. And if I'm going to be spending lots of money on items from the cash shop anyways, this actually falls right in line with speed of upgrade boosts. But also, I really enjoy the upgrade process. There's just something special about opening up my iPad, seeing the upgrades I have to do, planning my upgrades out, and I do this as a free-to-play player on some of my accounts, and I do buy the Gold Pass on a few of my other accounts, but $50, that just seems like a lot. Now, to be real, if I'm already spending $6.99 a month for the Gold Pass, then that's around $84 a year, which is more than the $50 the Builder's Apprentice costs, but each Gold Pass gives me a 10, 15, or 20% builder and research boost, which affects all the builders and not just one, along with several magic items that can potentially cut my time to max by up to 14 days per magic item. And if you're strategic rushing, then you can see that value add extremely quickly. So with each Gold Pass purchase, I'm saving potentially around 20 days of research and or total builder time each month between research and builder boosts and magic items, which means I'm easily surpassing the value of the Builder's Apprentice in 3 to 4 months' time for only $21 to $28 versus the $50 that the Builder's Apprentice costs. Now, obviously, numbers will differ a bit based on efficient magic item usage, but that is a considerable savings. And magic items are actually another interesting comparison to consider as well. So if I purchase Books of Fighting or Books of Building from the cash shop at a deal for $2 each, which can be used on 14-day upgrades, then I can get that 60-day total time savings, assuming I have the 6 builder, with 25.7 magic items. One thing that I had to remember, and actually got wrong in the beginning, in this calculation, is the 60 days in savings by having the Builder's Apprentice is for all 6 builders, while a Book of Building, which can save 14 days, only affects one single builder. So essentially it's either $51.40 in magic items purchased from the cash shop, which I can use when I want, or $50 for the Builder's Apprentice I have to use by logging in every single day at the exact right time over the course of 3 years. Now, those comparisons are for someone who starts at day 1, I want to emphasize that, with the Builder's Apprentice. But with someone who is already halfway through with maxing their base, the numbers are also cut in half. So if you're mid Town Hall 14, which is right around the halfway point to max, then you're only going to save 30 to 37.5 days of total builder time at the end, and you could get to max saving the same amount of time with 12.8 magic items, or again, using that $2 per book around evaluation, that would only be $26, which means for most players, the Builder's Apprentice is double the cost at which it would make sense to buy. So once again, we come back to the question of how important is it for you to have a max base? You can possibly save a few months by taking the Builder's Apprentice to max, and the value of that time savings is essentially up to you. As for me, I'm probably going to pass on even level 1 of the Builder's Apprentice. So I'm not necessarily super upset that Supercell has added this to the game. I mean, maybe spending the $50 to finish your base 2 months earlier is worth it to some players. And also in reality, this is a long-term investment. If you're going to spend this $50, in my opinion, you're not going to see the value of it for probably over 3 years. And in my opinion, the value or the cost of the Goblin Builder is about double what it should be for most players, because most players are not starting from day 1. Most players have already been upgrading for 1, 2, or even more years. But ultimately, you have to determine if it's worth spending the $50 for you. As for me, I'm probably not going to be buying it, even level 1, just because the value proposition just isn't there for me for so many reasons. Make sure you like and comment on this video. Let me know what you think about the Builder's Apprentice in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more videos just like this. Until the next video, I am TipDog20. I'll see you then.